Alright. What's up, guys? We got ourselves another action-packed Zerg vs. Terran series here. Shopify Rebellion's BYUN in the top left side of the map. And he, of course, is coming off some very good games at the World Championship recently, but also a bit of a disaster when he was facing Cyril. Looked like his wrists were getting the better of him, taking his hands off his keyboard and mouse for a full 10-20 seconds at the start of the final game against Cyril. That one was a little bit sad. Didn't catch it while I was casting it, but got told about it afterwards. Down in the bottom right side, Onside Gaming Solar, though. A player who looked very good, only stopped by Maru at the World Championship. And these two, I mean, I've talked about it many times. You've seen me cast them many times. They have a 50% win rate versus each other. I don't know if I've ever seen it higher than 53% for either of them. They have played hundreds of series, actual hundreds of best of matches at this point. And it's almost always back and forth. Very rarely does one of them beat the other more than 2 or 3 times in a row. If they do, it just switches sides. The other player gets the better and wins 3 in a row. And that is just the way it is. Command center first for BYUN in the left side. So he's going just command center first, barracks into double gas. So this is a very tech heavy build. He's not going to have many units. And Solar, for his sake, let's hope he does not build Zerglings when that pool finishes. Just keeps building drones, builds his Overlord. Because if he builds 4 Zerglings, then finds out, oh, this was command center first. Those Zerglings don't really serve a function. They can't get across the map in time to do anything effective. And they end up being inefficient. 2 queens. I mean, he's already built an extra drone. He's got 2 lava sitting there. He's waiting, guys. And he sees no Reaper come out, so he starts the 2 drones. Oh, I love it. So this wasn't just gambling on the drones. He actually waited, and he says, nah, Reaper would have showed up by about 2 minutes and 7 seconds, because it pops about 10 seconds before then. And Solar's probably already saying, oh, command center first. That's my guess. If anyone in chat live actually speaks Korean, you can translate. BYUN apparently says, no, I'm not speaking Korean to you today. Maybe he's playing on a non-Korean keyboard? Something? Maybe he's not in Korea for some reason. I doubt it. Anyways, third hatchery goes down at the front here for Solar. I used to really criticize this third, and I did actually see a lot of Zergs take this one. The problem is, if you don't take this third hatchery, you're going to have to take your 4th either up there or here later, which just means you have less creep in front to defend it. Getting creep out this middle path is massive, as well as down this south side. So I do think this is the better third if you think you can defend it. And the starport is now coming in. Factory's going to swap over onto that barracks. Interesting to see the builds. Guys, is there no ling speed? Solar's ling speed is crazy late right now. He's actually going to 4 queens already without ling speed. Has he forgotten ling speed? Oh, no. Solar. I mean, this is a really efficient build because you save 100 minerals that would have been into ling speed, which means you get an extra drone or overlord a bit earlier. Oh, okay. 320 roach runs. This is my favorite build right now, guys. Skip ling speed. Make it look like a normal fast third, still get like 5 queens, 6 queens even potentially, and then just get a handful of roaches to defend the Hellions. And that's, okay, so it's really good for 2 things. Number 1, swarming the third base with 1/1 roaches. It's also just great if you think you're playing against a mech player who might do like blue flame Hellions or lots of Hellion run-bys. Skip the Zerglings, which Hellions are very good against. Just go straight to roaches, and then it allows you to get right into the composition you want against that. Now, the reason that doesn't apply to this situation is Solar's playing BYUN. And I don't know the last time I saw BYUN play mech. I don't think he knows how to play mech. He's starting up Stim and Marines behind this, as you would expect, because he does it every game. BYUN is a master of bio multi-prong. And yeah, Solar may be just looking for the big 1/1 roach all in. We'll see. Well, 3 drones going down. A little sloppy there for Solar, leaving 1 drone behind, but the other 2 popping just at a bad time. And this all comes down to Solar's Overlord positioning being inferior, guys. Notice he prioritized Overlords on the edges before getting an Overlord down here, and that, in my opinion, is always a mistake. I mean, he's keeping a very tight ring of vision with his Overlords, which means he just has very little time to respond with those queens if the Hellions dart in. So I think he was expecting a Viking opening out of BYUN, and he was more worried about saving his units than anything else. Now, BYUN's obviously got that 3rd command center coming in, not crazy quick. It's after Banshee tech, and he's going for 3 barracks right afterwards. So BYUN playing a super standard and also very safe style with the Hellion Banshee. Will the Overlord get in to see said Banshee pop? 1 Marine takes a long time to kill it. I mean, he's going to see the barracks, so Solar at least knows it's a bio follow-up here. And Cloak already finished, so he doesn't get to see the Cloak, actually. I don't think he sees the starport either, though we can guess that that is the starport on the tech lab, most likely. Roaches are going to come across for a little bit of a pressure. I don't think he can really do anything because there's a Banshee here. I think, yeah, get 2 SCVs. And, yep, maybe get a depot as well. Not much chance of getting too much else, though. Solar kind of throwing these roaches away. The Hellions are going to dart on in. Oh, no. Solar's in big trubs. 12 workers going down. There's also a Banshee up in between the rallies, picking off a lot of workers. And he can just keep these Hellions alive if he runs them away. But BYUN does lose a bunch of those Hellions. 3 of them remaining. The Banshee's up to 4 kills. This Banshee shuts down the roaches. The depot does go down. Oh, no. 100 minerals lost. And that is why that roach pressure... You're really hoping to catch someone playing a Viking opening. If they have a Banshee at home, they just shut it down way too easily. And then if you've skipped Ling Speed, you don't have a lot of mobility on the defense. Hellions can dart in and around, and dealing with Hellions and a Banshee at the same time we see as a conundrum for such a static style. On the other hand, Solar's done a good job of keeping his worker count up, but for how long? Oh, no, get out of there, line up. Oh my God, bringing it up to 24 workers killed. And of course, BYUN tapping into his inner Australian says, anyone call for some barbecue? And yeah, Solar says, F off, mate. But he's looking extra crispy right now. And going to be serving extra strips of pork belly. Sam Solar looking very, very tasty right now. Solar going for the 4th base in the north. And I think he realizes the 1-1 roach timing is probably not so scary when you've taken so much damage. So he's basically switching gears from mass roach 1-1 all in to a quick infestation. So he's probably going to go quick hive. Technically, you can go Broodlord Infester, but most people just play Lurker, Viper, Hydra. The thing is, because he took so much damage and he's teching, yeah, he goes Hydra Den as well. He's kind of got to go to a style, which I don't really associate Solar with. Like, Dark can play this style with his eyes closed, but BYUN, I mean, he should know with no Zergling speed that he's up against this, like, immobile roach style. Sometimes the Zerg swaps back into Ling Bane from here. Sometimes you want a turtle. Like, if the Zerg is committing to the 1-1 roach attack, I feel, though, like, BYUN's going to have very little respect for Solar's position after all the damage he did. And now he sees 7th and 8th gases, which tells him, well, you're droning your 4th, you're taking gases. I don't have to be worried about anything. So BYUN gets to commit everything to harassment, to aggression, doesn't have to worry about any counter thrusts from the less mobile roach force. And you can see, yeah, Ling Speed starts up. Solar's basically just saying, I'm just going to turtle to late game. It's my specialty. BYUN doesn't have a 4th command center started yet, and he still hasn't dropped one. His 1-1 upgrade's finished. He doesn't have the gas for 2-2. And it looks like he is going to start moving out to pressure with his bio. Solar building a few roaches, a few Zerglings. I mean, the Zerglings aren't going to be very effective. Trying to get some extra upgrades, a hive, a Lurker, a massive investment in tech. BYUN scans the hive, and BYUN is like, okay, dude, well, I'm gonna come over here and try to take some good trades. His army is actually way scarier. Guys, if you've got equal army supply of Roach Ravager, you're dead. Like, get out of there with those units. That's not looking good at all. But wait, is there no army supply showing up right now? That's the worker supply, isn't it? I mean, either way, if the worker supply is similar and BYUN's supply is higher, that means his army supply is actually higher, if anything. And it's up 20 army supply, and still 2 drones queuing up as well as 2-2. I mean, way too many upgrades in tech that haven't paid in just yet. Solar needs to do nothing but mass roaches. He's trying to make Hydras, but they don't have Hydra upgrades yet. He needs to do nothing but make Roach Ravager and try to survive here. I don't know if Solar realizes how compromised his situation is right now. He lost 24 drones earlier. He has to treat this attack with respect. BYUN's building a 2nd factory and a 4th command center behind it, but he is heavily committed to this push. I don't know if Solar can afford to give up his 3rd base, though. Banshees are in the back of his natural, killing his work account. BYUN mounting the pressure, saying, come and fight into my siege tanks, baby girl. And Solar so far trying to buy time to get more units. Finally, the Queens clean up those Banshees, but 78 SCVs versus 72 drones. Solar right now trying to come forward with the Roach Ravager. Ling's trying to come in to tank those shots, but it's just not working. The bio in a big force of 1-1, overwhelming. And Solar just took way too much damage earlier and then played way too greedy afterwards. I mean, by the end of that game, he had lost 43 workers. Those Banshees were absolute MVPs, and he was way too far behind. He needed to really respect that push from BYUN. Because he didn't have scouting, he probably didn't realize that this late game transition, BYUN going 4th command center, 2nd factory, was so late. Solar needed to just mass Roach Ravager, and maybe he could have survived, but it was always going to be a rough shot. Well played game 1 for BYUN. All right, going into game number 2. Up 1 game, down in the bottom left side. Solar, no doubt, balance whining there, saying, oh, I thought roaches were meant to beat that. BYUN just saying, zzz. Solar throwing some emojis out. Obviously, I don't actually know what they're saying. Feel free to translate in the comments if you guys do. Maybe we'll get an accurate translation there. I really appreciate it. Sometimes some people come in the YouTube comments and do that, and that is always nice. But I'll have to learn one day how to read that Hangul, guys. For now, it looks like BYUN's going to go CC first here on altitude. Now, I'm really curious, guys. Best of 7, but usually you have alternating map picks. So maybe BYUN picked Gressven as map 1? Because I can't imagine why a Terran would pick altitude. Surely this is the Zerg map pick, right? I think so. Looks like a pretty standard opening for Solar. Hatch gas pool. Does he just anticipate command center first? BYUN does like to get very predictable with his builds when he finds something that works. And it is indeed command center, barracks, gas. And I would imagine another SCV. This one actually will rally onto that gas. So he queues up another one. SCV gets there right on 75 minerals. That's beautifully timed out, this build order. And he can rally straight onto this gas. You'll see that rally point in the command center change to this one in a moment. No, it changes back to the minerals. Interesting. And there we go. Pulls off minerals onto gas. Very clean organization. Solar over here, rallying down to his natural expansion. And he's got Overlord going through the middle. One, outside his natural. Looked for proxy barracks to the left. And now it's going to move out to this pillar outside his base, potentially. Altitude is such a gigantic map that as Zerg, it is a little scary dealing with multi-prong drops. If the Terran gets a bit of an advantage and is playing Biomine and starts hitting you on all sides, it can be very scary. On the other hand, I think mutas are dominating here. I actually really think mutas don't get used enough on altitude. Then again, we haven't seen enough close back and forth games. We've seen a lot of players mix in very different styles of play and really try, like, you know, we saw 2-port BC attempted on this map by Oliveira versus Rainer at Katowice. We've seen Jason in a weekly cup beat Dark on this map, which is like, you know, punching up of the century. A random American streamer punches up and defeats, you know, a former world champion. It was kind of cool. Using Battle Mech, of course. I mean, it's a weekly cup. It's not the most important tournament, but still, in my opinion, quite mentionable. And slowly saturating the second gas. And that Marine will deal with that Zergling. But doesn't really see too much, just knows it's command center first now. This was 4 Zerglings, so Solar, I think, is like, dude, seriously, CC first again. So this time around, BYUN actually has a better opening in comparison because Solar did build the safety Zerglings, maybe not being as confident about what BYUN was going to pull out this game. Link speed's on the way, so it looks like a more standard opening. None of that roach play, and that makes sense. You want the mobility to cover such a big map. Extra Marine building out of the barracks does help you shut down the Overlord. 1 Marine is a death sentence for a scouting Overlord, but only after that Overlord flies through the whole base and sees everything. 2 Marines, you've actually got a chance of denying information. And actually a medevac. Oh, me, oh my, guys. 420, light him up. What do you mean, Pig? I mean armory. That's what I mean. We knew that armory was going to go down because if you're building a 3rd Marine and maybe even a 4th one, yeah, he's going to build a 4th, even a 5th Marine. I don't think the 5th Marine gets out of time. 4 Marines get in the medevac, 6 Hellbats plus 4 Marines in a medevac are going to hit the front at about 4 minutes 20. Now, it feels like this is not the fastest version. BYUN's doing the economic version. He hasn't cut any SCVs, so he'll probably hit a little bit later than 420, more like 430, maybe 435. Still a very crisp timing. This is if you ask any of the Zergs in Europe about this, Rainer and Cyril have both said it's really trash. This doesn't work unless the Zerg messes up their build or is cutting corners really bad. You don't need a Baneling Nest versus this version. The Marauder Hellbat, you need a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren or something. They say with this version, you need nothing but Queens, and your standard opening will block it. But it is a surprise, and sometimes it hits crisp, it hits hard, and indeed, man, it does feel a little bit late, though. And with only 3 Marines, not even bringing a 4th one, I don't know, man. I feel like, oh, this is going to be hard. 3 Marines in the medevac. Already good focus fire on that medevac. You see how much damage it takes. The Hellbats are morphing on the front line. 6 Hellbats, 3 Marines at 4 minutes 40. The Queen's doing a nice spready from Solar so far. Those drones are looking mighty exposed. But if you dive for the drones, the Queen's going to get a lot of damage. And that medevac looking very low. Solar finally takes it out, but he does lose a Queen for that. The Marines and the Hellbats are sticking together. He's only lost 1 Hellbat so far. If you could get some Queens, that would be good, but he's going to back off, realizing those Queens have too much transfuse now. He doesn't really get much damage done. I feel like this is a very good defense for Solar, and immediately counterattacks with some Zerglings. Depot's down. Luckily, that Marine at least sees it coming, and there are more Hellions here. Behind this, what the heck is going on, guys? Zergling sees a very late 3rd command center, but there are 2 more factories and a Liberator building. So BYUN's going to keep pressuring. He's building 1 Lib into a 2nd Lib. He's really trying to get chaos going with the Hellions, with the Libs. And that Lib, luckily for him, stopping just out of vision, but there's a Spore Crawler right there. He's going to keep trying to attack with the Hellbats and the Marines on the front. And the thing is, there are banelings morphing, but if you underestimate this next wave, it could get out of control. BYUN is committing very hard to harassment, and he's trying to follow up with a double armory, 3-factory mech build. Liberator sieges, but great defense by Solar. Spore gets another hit off. That's not down to 69 hit points. That Liberator is very low. New Liberator coming across the map on the front. It's going to go around. He's going to try and siege the natural and the main and hit the third at the same time. It's a classic three-pronged maneuver here from BYUN. The banelings coming in at big problems, though. The Hellbat and these banelings taking some big juicies from those 3 banelings, but it's only 3 banelings, not enough to do that much. Liberator in the main gets 3 drones and lost mining time. In the natural, the Queen's going to try and come down, could take out the Queen, and indeed will do so, but doesn't get any more drones there. The Hellbats and the Marines go back in on the front. The Queens have split to deal with it. There we go. Nice baneling hit, but there's still a pack of Marines and Hellbats demanding attention. Liberator goes down in the main base as well. Not many worker kills. Lots of lost mining time, but not many worker kills, and at the end of the day, units lost tab dead even. You've got a very slow third command center. This feels like a massive advantage for the Zerg, who's got 1-1 upgrade starting, 4th hatchery finishing, and is also seeing more Hellions at home. At this point, I think you start to realize, why is he still building Hellions? If he's still building Hellions, that means this factory never swapped off the reactor, which means it has to be a mech build. There is no bio build that leaves the factory on the reactor this long, not at pro level. So he makes the read, drops the Roach Warren. Solar knows exactly what's going on, and we are, for the first time in a long time, and I'm sure there's someone out there who's seen it in some weird online cup, but this is the first time in a while I've seen BYUN playing mech. You guys let me know if there was a recent time that I've missed. I don't remember BYUN playing mech. He's trying to play battle mech. He's got Blue Flame, Mag Field, 1-1 upgrades. And I got to say, I don't like it. I think this is shows a bit of BYUN's lack of experience. Because when you're playing Hellion Cyclone battle mech, there's no reason to get upgrades. The armor is helpful, but it's nowhere near a priority. Because the whole point of Cyclone Hellion mech is to hit and not be hit in return, number 1. So armor's not as important because you're meant to be running and shooting, not getting hit. Number 2, you're also not meant to be going for attack because attack upgrades don't really matter with Hellions versus Zerglings, and they don't affect the Cyclone lock-on at all. So I really feel like BYUN's upgrades aren't very important, and yet he's going for them before getting past 3 factories. He is now on 5 factories. He also has a 3rd armory, so if he forgot the armory that he built at the start of the game, so he went triple armory follow-up. I think the big thing that he's missing is the starport's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. So with this style, you really need Banshees or Battle Cruisers. It's too late to go BCs probably, so you need Banshees out there to deal with the Ravager Bane. Otherwise, they'll overwhelm you. Hellions are doing good harassment. I do like these moves. I mean, BYUN's microing really well. He's being very annoying. But I worry for the follow-up because he's got 6 Cyclones, 7 Hellions. He's still trading barely above even. Ooh, Banelings. SCVs run. Okay. Good save there. Yeah, he doesn't have any tanks yet either. So 2 reactors, 3 tech labs. He needs more production, does BYUN. He's got a 4th command center on the way, but Solar is rich as. He's got 5 bases up. He's got his hive on the way so he can add Vipers to start abducting for now. +2 melee, +1 rangers on the way. And he's got Lings ready on the left for a Baneling run by. Already a big force of Roach Bane. These Queens alone could hold the line for a while the Roach Bane flanks. It's a very fragile spot. BYUN needs to keep Solar back for a minute or 2 without letting him get a proper engage. Solar is morphing those 8 Banelings on the left side. Ooh, BYUN better run those SCVs real quick. Notice how Solar's A-moving his army to distract him. He's saying, look over here, look over here, look over here. Sense Tower finishes. Oh, BYUN. Okay, he needs to lower those depots and run out the left side. Lower the depots, run out the left side if you're going to do that. But no, he was too distracted on the front because his Cyclone Alien's getting jumped on. And Solar gets 24 SCVs there. Oh, this is very, very nasty. And it looks like with no tanks, no Banshees, this is where you need just 1 or 2 Banshees wailing on these units whenever they chase you off creep away from the Queens. But without having those Banshees, this style lacks sustained damage output and the ability to stop them chasing you like this. And it seems like Solar can just rally in, trading here for the victory, and does get the overwhelm. A cool build for BYUN, but I haven't seen this variation before. Solar, though, just too experienced, defended the libs and the Hellbat pressure really well, was a bit ahead. And I do think the triple armory follow-up was a big mistake, as well as, of course, just needing to get Banshees to complement that style. Having a few Banshees around the map really stops the Zerg, forces them to build air units or get the creep all the way across the map, makes it much more difficult for them to run in and hit your economy. But I do hope we get to see more mech from BYUN in this series. Maybe this was just a special build because altitude's so hard to play, and he brings out a bit more finely refined and tuned mech in the next games. All right. Going into game number 3, the series is tied up on Neo Humanity now. So I guess this is a Terran map, maybe. BYUN in the top left side up here, and Solar in the bottom right. I feel like the first two maps in a best of series, a best of 7, are always the most one-sided. Or not always, but usually. Where it's like, one guy crushes his map, the other guy crushes his map. And then you start to get, because there's no vetoes in a best of 7, right? Then you start to get off the maps that players are normally vetoing, that are less extreme. And as the series goes on, you get more and more towards the middle ground maps. So these next 2 or 3 maps are much more important, I would say, than the first ones in terms of, you know, it's going to be a more and more even environment as it goes. Hatchery is on the way, the spawning pool and the gas. And yeah, I should point out, actually, in that last game, after I finished casting it, my Twitch chat pointed out to me that it was a command center first. So my mate Bullier in chat was like, hey, that was a CC first. You were saying it was a very late Hellbat timing, but you got to remember he had way more economy behind it because of the command center first, and that does delay. The old 420 light 'em up build was a gas first build that was very, very committed to the Hellbat push. Even though it hit 20 seconds faster, you'd have like 7 less SCVs behind it or something. Is that depot misplaced, guys, or am I imagining things? No, I think that's misplaced. Am I imagining? I feel like that's got to be misplaced. We'll find out later on. Either way, unlikely it'll come into play. Usually you'll have a depot at the natural when most interactions are happening anyway, but we'll see. Reaper is heading forwards across the map. Are we building Zerglings this time? Yes, we are. And once again, going for the triangular third. Remember, later on, this rich gas base, very good versus Protoss and Zerg, potentially. But against the Terran, way too exposed. Zerg pretty much never gets to hang on to that. Reaper's going to come on forwards. Drone does immediately pull back. Oh, Solar, get out of there! Does go for the spore trick, but now the other drone's in trouble. Oh, man. Oh, and BYUN, does he do a double take to try to get the cancel? No, it does get pushed back for now. Good defense by Solar, but yeah, 4 Zerglings there. Not enough, as BYUN did a nice loop around the minerals. Oh, Creep Tumor goes down, but the Lings come forward with that Queen to defend it. Third Queen is on the way now. These 2 Queens are up front. Ling speed does start up. No more Roach play here. No more silly Roach play. The question is, like I said, does BYUN play more mech? We're going to mix in some more mech play. Obviously, this is a very different opening because this is just a 1-Rax expand into 3rd command center, so no command center first, but do we play mech? Do we play bio? I would imagine it's bio that is his forte, but I also want to wonder with Solar, did he just want to do a 1-1 Roach timing, or was he anticipating the mech play in game 1 even? Because Gressman's another good battle mech map, as well as Altitude. Oh, the Reaper got 2 tumors, does severely slow the creep spread, but sacrifices his life for it. Solar's like, you sure that was worth it, buddy? BYUN's just like, whatever, man. I got 2 creep tumors, it's okay. I think Solar's usually the happier in that trade. I know I, as a Zerg, yeah, losing creep sucks, but if the Hellions can now deny the next 2 tumors, that's where I get frustrated. But if these 2 tumors are protected, he'll be okay. BYUN's going to go in. Oh, 2 tumors in the open. I think he can only get 1 in time, though. Yeah, that tumor on the right will finish. And he gets another one, though. Still slowing down the creep. I mean, only 1 active tumor this deep in the game is frustrating. Solar with a great Queen split already, though. You can see he's got... Oh, watch out for those Hellions. So he's got 1 Queen in the main. I guess that's his injecting Queen group. And then he has 4 Queens out front. But they're all on 1 control group right now. Not doing the Reyna split. Where's that split? I'm used to seeing him split. Finally, there we go. He split 2 Queens on the left, 3 Queens... Oh, 3 Queens on the left, 2 on the right. But he did it a little bit late, so these Hellions get in for free. And that's why you should split those Queens up early. Oh, 5 drones go down, but actually, all the Hellions will fall. Can he get a few? If he gets a few more, it might be worth it. 6 drones for 4 Hellions in mining time. Didn't kill any Zerglings. That's actually totally fine for Solar. Sometimes letting the Hellions in by being undefended actually works out to your favor because now your creep can spread uninterrupted. So that creep's going to go down that right side pretty hard. I imagine... I really feel like you should take this 4th and open these minerals up. And you see, he did mine those minerals a little bit. I think that's way better than taking this 4th. Because this 4th, they can put tanks up on that ledge. Like, this 4th is terrible to defend. Whereas this base and then this base are much easier to defend. Looks like Overlord flies in and dies. Zergling goes down as well. It is going to be a barracks follow-up. Did he really confirm that, though? I mean, he sees 3 Marines. I think the 3rd gas being so late on the natural tells him it's not mech. Because otherwise, right after the 3rd command center, you would have seen gases go down by 4 minutes at the absolute latest. Here we go. Hellions moving down that right side. Queen's not quite in position, but the Zerglings are. And he's going to take the 4th on the right. That seems crazy to me. I mean, I think this area here seems like the best tank spot in the game. I'm not wrong, am I? Oh! Hellions go for a risky rotate and die there, though. Oh, that's a lot of Hellions that have gone down, and this is very good for Solar. I really feel this base is way easier to defend, but could be wrong. Still good tank spots up there. This map has a lot of good tank spots. BYUN, the master of maps with good tank spots. That's why he was so good on Data C in the previous season. Oh, no cloak. Oh, this is a cloakless Banshee run by, and he's going to lose one of those Banshees. And he can get that Queen, but the Banshees didn't do that much. 1 Queen, 5 drones. You do not want to lose this. You do not want to lose your Banshee. If you lose your Banshee, then you've got nothing to defend the run-bys later. You got to get out of there. BYUN should not prioritize going for the drones here. He should prioritize getting out the top right. But now he's trapped, which means that Banshee's dead. It can never get back across the map, which means he's going to have to worry about Baneling counters down this left side the whole game while he's pushing the right. Ling Bane counters, you have a Banshee patrolling here. It makes them very expensive for Solar. And look, Solar's already sending some Lings forward across the map, getting ready for that. Actually going to break these rocks, which is very wise. He should be breaking as many rocks open as he can. Hydra Den's on the way. We are going to see Hydra play. I like that there's a 5th on the left, so if he has to give up the right side, Solar can pull drones down here. 7 more workers as well. He's going to go up to almost 80 drones. And a push coming for BYUN. I mean, this is the most BYUN push I've ever seen. He's like, here's like some Marines and a siege tank and 2 medevac. It's not a very powerful army. And Banespeed just finished. I mean, he's going 4th command center, 2nd factory. Like, so he's preparing for the long game, but he's also attacking. This is very risky. Oh, look at this tank though. Look at that tank. The tank, I can see it clicking it right into the corner there. And that tank is very hard to get at. Oh, that's a good position. So I guess BYUN's just trying to kind of create an indentation in the positioning here. There's a lot of creep out that left side though. Yeah, you can't let that go. And oh, look at that. Very smart by Solar. He just sends a handful of Lings in there. Says, hey, free siege tank. Let's get it. The Marines come back to save it. The Banelings, of course, jump on that opportunity. Solar defending very well. The Banshee got F2'd back through and this Queen took her out. Very well done by Solar. 78 workers to 72. Solar still feels like has a very good position, but he needs to keep the Baneling count up. As long as he's always got Banelings, that'll be good. He's also a little slow to respread creep here. BYUN's just going to shove so far. What? He's trying to siege the tank there? BYUN is the craziest man I've ever seen. I swear. Pushing this deep into Zerg territory, and yet the spread! How did those Marines survive? BYUN with the spreadies. Fantastic micro. What in the hell? I could not believe he put the tank that far forward, baited Solar in, and somehow Solar's just like no Banelings connected. BYUN was split in 3-4 different directions perfectly, and he's just going to keep rallying. 3 more barracks on the way. He's going 8 barracks behind it. 4th command center will be going out. He's got double factory tank production. You can tell he's decided this map is so good for tanks, and it's perfect against Hydraless play. Hydras have move speed. Grew Spine's Infestation Pit is on the way. 2-2 upgrades are still making. I mean, Solar's by no means out of this. I just am surprised that BYUN's got such a good forward position while having a good economic follow-up himself. He's even building a 5th command center here. He's got great production. These Marines are getting juicy trades, trying to bait him into the tank fire. He's still got 1 tank back there. He's going to try and move this tank up as well, but that might be a little bit too much. Solar's going to have to get rid of that tank, but oh, he backs off. Solar doesn't feel he has the army right now. Oh, that's why, because he's got a massive Ling run by going in. He's going to jump on the army at the front as well, says you can't deal with both things at once. Not very well anyway. The Banelings pulled back. He doesn't want to chase off creep into those Marines. They've been so good at spreading. 9 SCVs do go down. The Lings are trying to break the door down so they can escape, and it looks like they will be able to. Yep, a few of them will escape. Maybe morph into Banes and come back a bit later. 4th command center, very slow to get established. BYUN finished this command center about 2 minutes ago, so he's actually been so focused on his micro, he hasn't been macroing perfectly. Nonetheless, he's getting very good trades to make up for it. He's got 3 more tech labs coming in. 2-2 upgrades did not start. Oh, yes, they did. Actually, +2 weapons is already finished for him. It's just +2 armor was lagging behind. +3 attack is also coming in. Oh, I love this eBay block that he's doing. The problem is Solar just keeps clicking on it way too quickly and shutting it down. Very good defense. BYUN does need to put an SCV back on that. But, oh, Lings come in, gets a few more SCVs. And BYUN, distracted by that, needs to put a worker back on that command center. I'm going to keep that selected so you can see if that number doesn't go up, it's not being built, guys. So as long as it's at 463 hit points, we know BYUN's distracted. Marines down here with no medevacs. BYUN, oh no! Guys, he A-moved, but his medevacs stopped to heal the SCVs. He assumed the medevacs were going to stick with the Marines, but damaged SCVs aggroed the medevac healing and distracted them. Big mistake for BYUN. BYUN also loses that tank, but each time he baits him into these other siege tanks, the Marines keep getting good trades, and there's such a big gap in the creep here, but a good Ling flank from the side. Baneling so close to getting on top of those Marines, gets a good juicy hit, and only 2 medevacs do pick up and save. These medevacs just idling on the left side of the map. Solar senses that he's got the army advantage right now. Where are the units for BYUN? They just don't exist. Ling's in the natural, and Hydras, and Ling Bane at the front as well, overwhelming down here. And you can see just beautiful, beautiful engagements from him. The Marines being forced to pick up. The Lings are fighting the Marauders on their own back there. And if that third mineral line gets jumped on, he's screwed. Depots going down as well as factories. Any damage is good damage right now for Solar. And that is a huge problem for BYUN. He's just outnumbered, outgunned, and overrun. All right, guys, down here in the bottom right side, winning that last map with very good defense and a decisive counterattack. Onside Gaming Solar. Now on Dragon Scales, up against BYUN, who's going for the 2-Rex Reaper. Oh my, oh me, oh my. BYUN going for the classic 2-Rex Reaper. I imagine Solar's gotten very good at handling this build, though. I mean, BYUN and Maru have been spamming this bad boy out. And actually, it was the game on this exact map, same spawns, that Solar beat Maru. Maru did this opening. I think he did the 3rd command center follow-up to the 2-Rex. Whereas BYUN sometimes builds a 3rd barracks in the main. If he was going to do it, it would have started by now, though. You can see he's above 150 minerals. So it looks like he's not going to do that. BYUN has a few different crazy follow-ups to it. He has like a 4-rack Stim Shields Marine push. But it's a pretty big gamble, and he's shown it so many times it's a bit of an issue. He's beaten Solar a lot of times with that build where he even pulls SCVs. He does like an SCV Stim Marine pull. And if he can hide it, it works. And if Solar realizes it's happening, he shuts it down. It's a fun dynamic. I do want to, by the way, talk about that last game for a moment while we're in the early game. So, weird thing, guys. BYUN was playing a very greedy 4th base timing. And that sort of stuff. But he was also attacking crazy well. And he was getting really good trades in the first few. But then he started throwing his tanks away. I really feel his initial tank position was fantastic. And he could have just hung out there. But BYUN was both playing very greedy and being very aggressive. And then the moment he loses like 2 or 3 extra tanks in a bad trade, Solar just counterattacks. He has nothing at home. Obviously, the 2 medevacs worth of Marines dying on the left watchtower was huge as well. Big mistake. But I really feel like that was classic BYUN play where it's like, you're going for way too much. He's like, I could be greedy and aggressive at the same time. And like, if he gets away with it, it feels unfair. But Solar's a bit too clean for that. It did remind me of the exact same map. Oh, very good trades with this Reaper, by the way. Gets 1 Zergling. 3rd hatchery starting though, and I like that Solar's only built, I mean, he's lost only 1 Zergling. He's only building 8 Zerglings in total. Building a 3rd queen. He's actually droned to 21 workers. If he can keep droning without taking too much damage, he'll be good. Oh, good Zergling queen positioning. Oh, they're going to jump in, but that means they're pretty exposed. The Lings should not chase that. Bad chase by Solar. Solar chasing. He's thrown all of his Lings away there. That was not a good chase with those Zerglings, but the drones can surround this. And, oh, those Reapers. One of them gets surrounded, another gets focus fired. 3 drones go down. I mean, that still feels like good damage. You trade 2 Reapers for 8 Zerglings, 3 drones. Your command center's on the way. He is doing the 4 barracks follow. I didn't think he did this unless he did the 3-racks Reaper, but apparently BYUN's going to do his 4-racks Marine follow-up, guys. Solar down in workers. Man, it doesn't feel good. On the other hand, there's no follow-up pressure till Stim's done. So Solar technically can basically just spread creep drone, spread creep drone, spread creep drone. We know the explosive capability of Zerg's economy. Oh, good spore trick. Solar saves it. 1 hit point drone. Zerglings run in there, but the Marines there gun down 1 or 2 Zerglings. And yeah, this is pretty damn stable. Now, of course, doesn't see the extra 2 barracks yet, Solar. You might want to hide the extra Marines beyond. There we go. Yeah, he's hiding his extra Marines back there on the deep. I was about to say, 5 Marines. That is like 9 Zerglings. I think 5 Marines can beat 9 Zerglings with good micro. But interesting that he's actually showing them out there and trying to gun down these Zerglings and catch them. Very cute. Overlord pokes in. Single Marine pushes it back, denying information very well. Solar's going to come in there and... Oh, he's going to click on the stim! The Marines are getting chased by the Overlord. BYUN with a huge mistake. He wanted to catch the Overlord. BYUN! BYUN! You're gonna lose Stim at 80%. That is well worth trading 10 Zerglings. His whole build is predicated on Stim and Shields finishing 20 seconds from now and doing a big push of 20 Marines. Oh, BYUN. Oh, no, no, no. Solar right now has a big fat smile on his face. I think he feels bad for BYUN because normally you'd expect him to drop a smiley face or something in the chat after something like that. But that absolutely cucks him. And the thing is, he's still going to build some Zerglings in case BYUN's crazy and pushes on creep with just combat shields. But I mean, you build that round of Zerglings and then you can just go back to droning and get way ahead. Because if BYUN actually commits on creep with these Marines rather than doing this pretend fake out move around, he's an insane person. Like, it makes no sense for him to do that. Despite that, Solar makes a Bailey Nest and mass Zergling. Is he going to just try and do a big all-in himself, knowing now that BYUN can't even poke on creep with no stim? So BYUN's vision sucks, right? He can't even confirm if there's drones on the third base or not. And he's kind of like, well, I'll build double eBay, I'll build a starport. You know, my third command center's halfway done now, so okay, you know, I've got some stuff. Lair starts up pretty late. Solar did show his Zerglings there, and those Marines should just go home and basically wait till Medivacs are out before he does anything. I think Solar's misplayed this, guys. He killed Stim, and yet he played scared. So I actually think Solar misplayed. He's on even workers. He's massively overbuilt army. Stim is still not done. BYUN is still on the map, even after seeing quite a large pack of Zerglings. I mean, BYUN's known for moving forwards and attacking in crazy positions. That's what lost him that last game, was continuing to attack. Much like Clem vs. Dark on Neo Humanity was what I was going to talk about before. If you guys saw that game from Katowice, Clem was playing what should have been a turtle style, but then he kept trying to attack while being very greedy, which is obviously not what you want to do. You got to keep those tanks alive and raise that tank count to get the correct engagements. Now 5 barracks are building, Medivacs pumping out, 3rd command center landing. Are you just so blind? Is there a 4th? Is there a 5th? Is he on 50 drones? Is he on 80 drones? You have no idea. BYUN knows he needs to do something to kind of scare Solar. But Solar is up 8 workers now and now adding to the army. Units lost tab is in favor of BYUN from the early game. But remember that BYUN's economy actually did okay for quite a while here, especially as he saturates this third. But these Marines are still looking very isolated out on their own in a period of the game where Bane speed is on the way. Single Evo chamber is up. 2nd Evo chamber in behind that third base as well. Not my favorite positioning. I feel like Marines could drop back here and your units are going to have to funnel through just there and just there. Tiny openings. Marines in the middle of the map gun down some Zerglings. And looks like little Zergling run by attempt, but 2 Marines will defend that one nicely. Double drop on the left side coming on forwards. Very similar supply. I think this is really playable for BYUN. I feel like losing Stim should have allowed Solar to be very greedy. But Solar, as always, if there's one thing I can criticize him for in this matchup, it's his lack of spice. I feel like he's so good at just playing ultra safe, and he's so good at late game and hive tech that he sometimes doesn't take the edges he could earlier on in the game. Where I do think Rogue would have already done a giant all-in or been super greedy after sniping the Stim, right? Think of Rogue as like the most strategically extreme player who always commits very hard one direction or the other, whereas Solar's more of a middle-of-the-road player who's like, I'll beat you in late game. I'll beat you in late game. I just want to play safe. I just want to hedge my bets. Just to add a bit of insurance. Rogue never bought insurance. Solar always buys insurance package. He always gets the travel insurance. He always buys the car insurance. He gets the life insurance, the extras package. And you know what? It's why he's so bloody good at late game. BYUN now finally splitting on the right side, trying to drop on the backside. This is that area I was talking about. But I think with Banelings getting through, that's fine. If there was like a Marauder in that gap, imagine if there was one Marauder holding that choke point, guys. Oh, army on the right side does try to push in. Gets overrun on the right side. He can only save 2 medevacs worth. That was what was worrying me about the right side push, guys. He's now lost 18 Marines. Units lost tab. It's trading well 2-to-1 in the efficiency. But you've got 4 bases mining and a 5th on the way. Solar's scaling up faster than BYUN. BYUN has a 4th command center on the way. He's now gone to 7 barracks or 8 barracks. Number 8 barracks starts. So extra tech labs are coming in. And his upgrades are ahead. 1-1 versus +1 carapace, but only by a little bit. Solar's not too far behind on the ups. He's got a good spready of the units. The creep is getting pushed back. And the Widow Mines are only now being added in. But Hydras are already hitting the field. 4 are out, 3 more on the way. Infestation Pit on the way as well. And you know it's BYUN who feels the pressure to keep the action going and to keep Solar small. You let Solar hit Hive Tank without a hitch in the sails, without anything going wrong, and he will run away with that game. So BYUN's usually the player who's a little bit more frantic in his play, and I wouldn't be surprised if he sets up a third drop on the right side. One on the left side, just keeps picking off a Zergling or two, redropping, healing, going back in for later. Careful, mate. Careful, mate. Didn't expect the Lingbane to chase in there. He'd queued that one up and wasn't watching. Okay. Marine Marauder Widowmine coming in this right side. But the Widowmines are a little bit too far back, and that allows Solar to defuse those very easily. Slight mistake there for BYUN. This is what you can't go too far in front of your Widowmines. Widowmines are useless on their own unless you're playing at low level. At pro level, they'll always detonate them. Looks like that Widowmine may have surprised him and got a decent hit. Units lost tab still looking very healthy for BYUN, but 86 workers. Hive on the way. Lurker tech is on the horizon. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Lurker den start any moment now. We've got a big drop going down the right side. He's going to try and work this triangle. He's got 3 drop paths here. Which one does he go for? He's going to boost pass for the main base, pushing the front at the same time. BYUN is going to use Chaos as his weapon and positioning. Shoves in on the front at the same time. His Widowmine's exposed out front, but there's no Overseer. Solar does not have an Overseer on the front. He's scrambling to defend the main, but it looks like his Lings are getting overwhelmed there. The Widowmine's got big shots off. His army coming in disarray. BYUN goes in for a wildly decisive engagement. He redrops from the main down to the 5th base. The Bio's shoving in. The Banelings just can't quite connect. What an absolute YOLO from BYUN. So few players would have committed to this in his shoes, but BYUN, as always, is the man who just shoves in like a psychopath. He knew he forced a big reaction by diving in the main, and that Solar was busy splitting his army, and he just sensed, this is the moment where I can get my army sieged in range of that 3rd hatchery. This drop on the right side still bouncing around the top, the bot. Picks up, goes to the top, drops, goes the bot. Picks up, goes to the top, drops, goes to the top. The bot, the top. The rally through the middle at the exact same time. Biomine, once again, he says, I made you pull your whole army to the main. Guess what? Widowmine Bio hits that 3rd, 4th base, 5th base location, and he can even start a step away into the heart of the economy. Solar just getting overrun. 27 workers had gone down. He was at less than half the army supply, and BYUN just, that was such a wild shove in the front. I told you guys he was going to have some urgency in his sales, knowing the Hive was on the way, and boy, did he capitalize on it. He ties up the series 2-2. All right, guys, going into the next game, BYUN in the top right is going to go 2-Rax Reaper again if it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But let's be real, guys. It didn't... I mean, the Reapers did good. It was the follow-up that I don't think put him in an amazing position. I think Solar could have capitalized and won that game. Solar now in the bottom left side. And it's a good map for Zerg. It's a bigger map. Not as good for those Marine pushes. If he does the exact same 4-Rax build, I'll be spewing. Because that would be giving Solar the perfect opportunity to fix his mistakes from the last game. Now, don't get me wrong. You can't snipe the stim here. But it's still a big map. Kind of hard to get in there. 6 Lings are in the way. Natural Command Center goes down. Let's see how much damage BYUN can get. Remember, his first Reaper didn't do that much. And he's got his 3rd Reaper on the way right now. 2nd Reaper's coming out. 3rd Reaper will pop soon. Hasn't got any damage yet. Good micro from Solar. And you're totally fine to let the drones tank a little bit of damage as long as they don't die. Queen's now out. Reaper's barely got touched. Oh. Grenade dodged. Good dodges. Does get 1 Zergling and a little bit of damage on the Queen, but you gotta be careful. More damage you take on these Reapers, the longer you have to disengage to heal up. He could rotate straight into that main base right now, but if he waits too long, it might be a while. There's so much space off creep that you can micro in on this map. Oh, he pretends he's gonna jump up, but he goes back to the natural. Can he get the creep tumor? Ooh, yep. And oh, get out of there. BYUN's Reaper very close to going down. It's 1 Queen volley from falling. And he's going 3cc this time, so he does change up the follow-up. Good choice by BYUN, but he didn't get the drones this time. Did he force many Zerglings? Looks like he forced 10 Zerglings rather than 8. Gets another creep tumor. That's very good. But nonetheless, Solar's economy is roaring. Solar's already up in workers this game, but there's a 3rd command center for BYUN. I'm very bad at judging this sort of game, guys. I'm looking at it and I'm trying to weigh up who's ahead, who's behind. I'm going to say it's pretty even. But really, the numbers will tell me if I'm right or wrong on that in about 2 minutes. Once we really see the production and the economy start to explode. Factory goes down now behind it. Looks like it'll probably be straight to a double medevac drop pressure behind it. And on 2 gases. I think we'll probably just be seeing, yeah, double engineering bay and then 3 barracks at once. But BYUN might squeeze a 3rd barracks in a little earlier than that. We'll see which way he goes. It's always fascinating to see how the players follow up these build orders. Solar's on 4 queens with 2 more popping, so it's going to be on 6 queens in a moment. 41 drones versus 32 SCVs. A healthy worker lead that's getting bigger with every passing moment. 12 worker advantage. Soon to be up about 15 workers. If Solar can keep that production going, he'll be good. And despite the slowed down start, the fact that he's already got so many workers, 8 mining and another bunch that'll fully saturate this before the 5-minute mark. Benchmark-wise, that's looking real good for him. Obviously, oh, he gets the Reapers as well. Very nice play. BYUN hanging around way too long with those Reapers in this game. And I mean, his factory only now building the reactor in the starport. Yeah, okay. I mean, we're going from pretty okay position for BYUN, kind of even, to I think Solar's way ahead. Look at the supply. He's doing a cute little push out. Zerglings get a bit of damage and pull back. None of them actually die. He's just going to keep trying to intercept the rally and slow down this push from coming across the map. And he's massing Zerglings. Once again, Solar taking no risks here. Remember, he's being very conservative, same as last game, except he's saying, I want to surround these Marines. You ran around the map for 5 minutes with those Marines last time without medevacs and without stim. This time you might have stim. You don't have shields yet. I mean, he doesn't know that though, right? This could have been a 4-ax. So this is also him playing safe and respectful, but if he could get a big surround on these Marines and just crush them, it ruins BYUN. BYUN wants to force you to build units, but not actually fight for a few minutes' time. And he's caught in the open. Nice stim, but he's got to get to the corner. He doesn't get to the corner. Oh no, BYUN gets surrounded. Pre-1-1, pre-shields. That is the worst time for Terran to fight. The best time for Solar, because Solar doesn't have upgrades. He doesn't have a Bane speed or Evo upgrades even started anywhere on the horizon. Terran needs to wait for those upgrades and those medevacs to join up. That is a devastating engagement, and now it is a terrible position. Solar should be going straight to 80 workers, covering the map in creep, and swarming BYUN. If BYUN can fight back from here, then it's gonna take some real fighting spirit from him. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like doing the 2-ax Reaper builds so often. I feel like it's being used so much by him and Maru on repeat. And Zerg players, if you give them the same opening to play against over and over and over again, they just naturally become gods at defending it. BYUN's going to try and do an 8 barracks build, guys. Interesting. So he's going to go 8 barracks. He's going to try and do a big 3-base push and say, well, if I just commit really hard to 3-base aggression, maybe we can get back in it. And, you know, that can work. Essentially, it'll have to be a 2-2 push. His armory is done, so he can start that 2-2 whenever he gets the money. Solar, though, 76 workers and massing Ling Bane off a comfortable lead. Hydroden's on the way as well as Baneling speed. And I don't really see that army supply difference changing. Because Solar has more income, and even with 8 barracks coming up, BYUN will be lucky to ever tie up the army supply in this game, unless he gets some very good engagements. He's going to start just clearing creep on the north, clearing a potential future push path. Marines doing a little bit of stutter step, and does save most of those Marines, so good mini trades and slow down on the creep. He does go Tech Labs. Okay, 2-2 and Tech Labs, so BYUN wants to max on Biomine with Marauders, adding it in the front. A lot of Marauders in the front line can be very tanky. 6 more drones on the way for Solar. So he's going to go up to 83 workers. No infestation pit in sight. I think he might be thinking about doing a Rainer. Rainer is so good at getting ahead in ZVT, and he likes to just kill with a big Hydraling Bane attack on the 3rd and the natural at about... And it's not really an in-game time. It's basically with 1-1 usually. Sometimes waiting for a Hydra upgrade to finish as well. Probably, yeah, I think about a minute from now might be a perfect window to hit before 2-2's finished for the Terran. But when you're basically at max with a massive Banelings and the Terran doesn't have too much going for him, Marines stop the rocks getting broken down, and then they say that's our job, and they start breaking the rocks down. BYUN wants to have an opening to start rallying Biomine through. He does have a 4th command center on the way as well, but only after the 8 barracks. He's really got to keep up Widowmine production. That factory is not mining right now. Double drop on the front. A few of the Marines do get taken out. He's got to preserve every single unit. Baneling's getting ready for a run by on the north. Marines going to stem in, start to take out those creep tumors. It's going to focus down 1 queen. 2nd queen does not fall. And the Marines pick up and move away. Now, if these Banelings morph and run in, and he does the eBay again, he has to lower those depots and run out the north side. Ooh, nice chase by Solar is shutting those medevacs down. Here we go. This is where the position can start to get really good, but Solar ambushes him, takes out 2 Widow Mines before they can burrow. Great moves by Solar. He's got a beautiful army split. Army here on the right on number 2. Army in the top left, number 3. And he can, if he ever shuts down either of these pushes, he can explode across the map. It's that moment in the game right now where it is still 1-1 versus 1-1, but that gap closes. 2-2 finishes, and that's a double upgrade advantage for the next 2 minutes for Terran. So that would be a good time for him to fight in this next minute or two. Similar army supply. You've got a lot of Marauders. The Widowmine count's a big problem. He has not been building Widowmines. Massive macro mistake for BYUN. Widowmines are what enables this to be a powerful style. Solar's going to try and jump on him. Bit of an awkward engagement angle, but takes out all the Widowmines before they can fire. That's big. Solar goes for a bit of a crazy engagement here, but he has the numbers and it works out okay for him. Gets rid of a lot of the technical units. Widowmine production restarts here, but where has it been? BYUN just was not keeping up Widowmine production in this game. He's only got 2, and these are these 2 Widowmines that have been on the map for a while. After that fight, he restarts Widowmines, and that's the biggest thing, guys. A factory can build 6 Widowmines a minute if you keep it pumping off that reactor. But he messed up there, and that's going to cost him. Oh, Queen takes out the medevac with 5 Marines still inside. That medevac is doing a good job distracting, but there is far too many banelings on this side. He needs the Marauders to tank and some Widowmines to land, but there's no Widowmines on the front right now. Marine drop goes back to the 3rd, 4th base over here on the left side. Lings are on top of it, though. Solar's scramble is very good. His creep spread indomitable right now, and he's bought the time for his 2-2 to finish. And I think that would be the go time because he has a lot of banelings. Vipers coming out as well, adrenal glands. But it looks like he knows that BYUN's going to attack into him. He's going to wait for BYUN to step on creep and give him the fight that he wants. Solar is going to be poised to counterattack. I tell you guys, much like on Neo Humanity, if BYUN overcommits even a little to one of these fights, Solar will be just charging across the map with a counterattack. BYUN making orbitals on his 4th base. He's playing a high-risk, high-reward style to get back in this game. It's amazing that he's made it to a maxed-out situation here so cleanly, but no Widowmines in the mix. Only 1, and it's not burrowed. The Marauders go down. The Marines are stutter-stepping. He's going to have to pick up and boost home, but I think Solar might just chase him. Widowmine does burrow on that side. Oh, doesn't get a good hit. He needs a good one. That one, oh, that's once again, he's just not getting the big hit. Solar's too good on the splitting. Not many Widowmines left. There's only 2 here at the rally. He's going to try and stutter step back up that ramp. Solar chasing him all the way home. Happy to take those Widowmines on a few of those Zerglings. Hydra, Ling, Bane chasing. He's got Vipers in here as well. Parasitic bombs and the medevacs could be good. Units lost tab tells us a story of this being very good fights here. The depots do lower. As I said, if you do that eBay trick, you need to do it like that. And good defense there for BYUN. Puts the workers back to mine. A few depots will be burning down there as he's very busy fixing up his basics. Solar happy to take those trades. He's got more bank, and now he's making 10 lurkers for the next step against a guy who has no ghosts. He has no siege tanks. BYUN may have a 5th command center, so he'll have enough scans, but he'll need the perfect engagement and a lot of Marauders landing hits on those lurkers. He scans, he sees the lurker down in the hive finished, and BYUN knows he is up against the wall, and he needs to pull out some fantastic engagements. Solar here sees the Widowmines. Should defuse 2 of those. Just a changeling down there. There's 8 Widowmines out now, but they need to be burrowed in the right position, and you can see BYUN doesn't know where that position is going to be. Solar moves to the north. Lings on the bottom distract him. Lings run in on the north for damage on the worker line. More Ling Bane Hydra coming in on that side. Banelings rallying in from all sides. Widowmine will fire on the Overseer. Nothing too impactful there, and the lurkers have arrived on the front. Adaptive Talons may not be finished yet, but it's going to be ready soon. And this 3rd has so many depots, so much infrastructure, not to mention the economy itself on it. The Lings pull back from the bottom right side. They are going to deny that 5th base trying to land down there. Bio tries to flank and gets shredded by the lurkers. And Solar calmly and methodically working his advantage from the early stage ever since he surrounded those Marines. And look at this. Parasitic bombs start to wound the medevacs. That base in the bottom had to get lifted. Ling Bane Hydra running down the right side. Widowmines get a few okay hits, but he needs better than okay right now. BYUN needs the Widowmine hits to end all days. He needs to ruin Solar's life with the next 4 Widowmine hits, or he has got no chance of coming back in this game. Down 30 army supply right now. And Solar is making a Ragnarok of Banelings on the front lines. The Widowmines run in, and most of them get taken out before they can even burrow. The lurkers in the top side are still there as a threat that can come in from the other side. Widowmine gets 1 good hit. 1 good hit for 5 dead Widowmines is not going to cut it. And Solar dominates. Says, you're going to do 2 racks Reaper against me twice in a row. That is lazy, mate. And he shows how to put the slap down on it. All right. His back's up against the wall in this best of 7 series. And he's going to have to bring out his best build next. Barracks Gas here for BYUN on Babylon. A very good map for Terran. But, I mean, I say very good. It's not like it's crazy favored, but it is favored for Terran in this matchup, I believe. And I'm surprised we got to it so late. So, you know, I am of the opinion it's one of the best Terran maps for Terran vs. Zerg. And yet, BYUN has gone and picked Gressvan map 1, Neo-Humanity map 3. So he's decided both of those are better maps than this. I guess because they're nice tank spots. And, yeah, I mean... And then I guess game 5 was... Cistern. Wait a second. Now I'm confused. Did Solar pick Dragon Scales? I thought Dragon Scales was like a decent map for Terran vs. Zerg. Now, yeah, I'm always behind the meta on what the pro players pick. Sorry for the reasoning out loud, guys. I'll have to. I always do this when I'm casting, and then I end up having to just go and ask pro gamers some questions. Occasionally, a pro gamer happens to be watching, and they poke their head out and explain, "Oh yeah, at the moment we veto this map, this map, this map." It's not 100% consensus between the players. There's a little bit of difference between them, of course. But interesting to see what priority they pick in. Command center goes down, Marine on the way, and the Reaper will head across the map. Solar's building 4 Zerglings blind, assuming there's going to be a Reaper on such a small map. Reaper moving on forwards. All right, goes past the Urubu. Remember, guys, the curse of the Urubu. If you kill the Urubu, you bring down a pox upon your home, your people, your family. Reaper is going to take out this drone if he doesn't do a Spore Trick. Nice Spore Trick, keeps it safe. Focusing another drone. I like the doubling back. Oh, Solar. Ah, Solar being a little bit too risky there. And once again, builds only 4 lings, copies Pig's advice, and loses a drone. I'm telling you guys, he does this just to troll me. This is, it's such a meme, 4 or 6 Zerglings, but Solar's honestly throwing away drones just to troll me at this point. It's like, see, I need 6 Zerglings, Pig. Like, why? Stop. Stop throwing those workers away. And it's a very good start. You feel really good when you get a drone, especially on this map, because there's a ramp there. The first creep tumor gets down very easily. You can't really delay that. It's going to try and jump up. Careful of those Linglongs. And they were waiting for it, so he immediately goes back, hoping to catch the tumor spreading. Solar playing exceptionally safe here. Gets the inject, waits for 2 queens to be at the front, and only then will he spread this creep tumor. And even then, oh, BYUN does a full loop, and Solar's just like waiting, waiting, waiting. Finally drops his creep tumors down, man. Great job threatening by BYUN. Barracks is there. Looks like he's going to swap over to a safety Banshee by the looks of things. Unless we see a fusion core go down at 150 gas, which we do not. And indeed, does look like Banshee coming in. Now remember, he went cloakless on Neo-Humanity and threw those Banshees away, which I do think was a big cost to him. Remember, there was like run-bys on his 3rd. If he had Banshees killing those the whole time, it would have been much easier for him to handle. But he's actually going to go cloak this time. Nice Evo chamber save there for Solar. Same minerals for an Evo as well as a Spore. It's just a Spore takes less space, so it's easier to place in a moment, whereas Evo Chamber's got a lot more hit points, so you can use it to wall off those Hellions from chasing you. Pretty solid opening so far by BYUN. Gets his first creep tumor to add to that earlier drone. On the other hand, where does Solar take the 4th? I imagine on the left side. If he goes to the north, we've seen that get abused a little bit by... usually the Terran sets up down here, behind that ridge. But I still think that 4th is probably better than the 4th in the bottom left corner, which obviously he would never take in this case because he has expanded on the triangular path. Solar on 46 workers. He got a Hellion kill, which is very effective for him. I also think, remember, we pointed out his queens were split very late in one of those earlier games. This time around, 3 queens on the north. On the south, sorry, 2 in the north. Banshee's coming forwards across the map. Stim on the way. No more mech in this series. BYUN says that's an altitude special, and I don't think we'll see too much more mech from him in the future. I'd love to see him invest in learning it, but his specialty is just excellent, excellent bio multi-prong, so I can see why he doesn't bother. Lair and Baneling Nest on the way, as well as going into 3 gases, and the 4th base on the bottom for Solar. So Solar's going to go quick Baneling speed, and I would imagine double Evo Chamber goes down about 6 minutes for Solar, which is not too bad. But of course, that does mean there'll be a big upgrade lead for the Terran, who's got his engineering base finishing in about 10 seconds. Banshee's flying up the guts here. Looks like Solar may have noticed it. Nope. Okay, now he sees it with his queens. Overseer morphs. Should be able to transfuse that queen. So good choice by BYUN to just change to targeting the drones. Ooh, 4th hatchery could be a juicy target, but with that Overseer and these queens splitting up nicely, not going to be able to get it. Oh, Hellion's darting in, but Ling's going to go for the wraparound. Oh, careful, BYUN. Ooh, wild chase for Solar here. Yeah, good choice to pull back. That would have been crazy to keep chasing him. Oh, BYUN's trying to go inside. But is BYUN getting a bit too aroused right now? He might need to tuck these Banshees away and just kind of put him away. Nobody wants to see that. And, oh, Queen goes too far forward. Bit of a mistake for Solar. Not bad. I don't think losing a Queen particularly matters at this point because you can just take one of your many defensive Queens, turn it into an Inject Queen. And I still feel that BYUN should try to get these out of here and use them for defense later in the game. Too many people focus on doing direct damage with the Banshees, but it's preserving them for later that's so huge. Similar to when you see a Protoss player throw all their oracles away to kill some drones, and then you just see a big counterattack kill them. Whereas if they have even one full energy oracle at home, turning that laser on, it can kill a ridiculous number of units. Same deal with the Banshees, but BYUN is showing a very impatient manner. He just is trying to force damage with the Banshees every game. And the thing is, if your opponent's invested in the Spores, the Queens, the Overseers, you've already forced a response, you killed a few drones, sneak that out the top side while you're distracting him elsewhere, and it'll be such a good defensive unit. So definitely something I think he could improve in his play. Now that's a quick infestation pit. Are we going to see straight Hive for Ultras? Or straight Lurkers maybe? Skipping the Hydras entirely? Oh yeah! Hive is on the way. Is it going to be a Lurker Den, or are we going to go Ultras? I don't know, man. Could be very effective either way. Hellbat Marine tank moving down that right side. That Banshee gets F2'd in by the looks of it. Oh, damn, man. I do think that's a huge bummer. And we've seen him suffering Baneling run-bys on the 3rd multiple times in this series so far. BYUN's shoving forward, though. He's preserved his Hellbat. 6 Hellbats, 2 tanks, 26 Marines. Bane speed is done, but 1-1's not there for another 20 seconds. Solar does not want to fight until that's ready. BYUN's going to shove in so aggressively. He doesn't even have combat shields. There we go. It kicks in just now. Perfect timing on this push for BYUN. BYUN's Marine's going to try and force him to come forward and defend this. Solar wants to wait for those 1-1 upgrades. He's already lost 5 workers and a gas. The hatchery getting clicked on. BYUN! I feel like the opening wasn't great for him. It looked like Solar was a little ahead, but this push is going to potentially turn things in his favor. Oh, look at that tank on the right side. These tanks are so well positioned. You've got those Hellbats covering on the back, but the Baneling flank comes in. The Banelings clear the Hellbats. The Lings are on top of the tanks, but oh no! He doesn't actually get Lings on this tank. The tank on the left side does go down. He does force the pickup and then goes back for the siege tanks. Units lost tab tells us this was not terrible for BYUN, but flying his medevacs forward a little bit crazy. He's got to drop in the south side, but only a few Marines there. 71 drones versus 73 SCVs. 4th command center's finished. BYUN has been a little slow to float those command centers out, but this time around he's on the money. Does it immediately. 2nd factory's on the way, as well as 2 more barracks building right now. And that's going to allow him, of course, to add a next layer to this build, extra production. He's just going to keep on working this northern angle as well. It's not that big an army. I have a worry that this is going to turn the way of neo-humanity with him throwing his tanks away one at a time and then getting counterattacked. On the other hand, he does have a drop in the bottom left and this medevac up here as well, which could join in to strengthen this pressure. Looks like he may be F2'd a little bit, though. I love that tank position once more. Big flank coming in for Solar, though. Solar's going to get on top of those tanks. Can he take him out? Oh, 1 Baneling lands, but 1 Baneling is never enough. Does force the pick up. The tanks get cleaned. Marine drop in the bottom side, defended as well. Perfect split by Solar. Solar hanging on in the midst of a chaotic situation. Yes, the units lost tab is not pretty, but he's keeping the tank count very low. And that means that BYUN does not have that much pushing power. I'd like to see him multi-prong more. You can see he's planning to do a big Marine drop in the main. 2 spores are waiting for it, though. Viper's on the way, as well as a Hydrogen, which could do a big amount of damage with Parasitic Bomb in these medevacs. Marine drop in the bottom left gets cleaned up. Drop goes past the Spore Crawlers in the north. Solar's going to have to scramble back here to defend this. The Queen scrambles out of there herself. She gets away. Hydroden will go down. Not a bad snipe, but paired up with no other aggression on the map, you can see that this is not going to be as effective as it was on Dragon Scales, for instance. His army in the middle realizes, oh god, we are walking into a massive carpet of creep. BYUN going for a crazy push with only 1 medevac. He cannot pick up and get out of there if he gets in trouble. He's got to be wary of stepping into Zerg territory because Solar has a lot of units at his disposal. 75 Zerglings, 10 Banelings with 13 more on the way, as well as 2 Vipers. 5th command center goes down for BYUN. He's preparing for that longer game, getting vehicle weapon upgrades and all the rest. Medevac in the bottom left, still just poking around. This is a distraction medevac. It's a bit of a throwaway, but it's actually distracted Solar pretty well. Army sets up there. Big drop, and once again, this Evo chamber placement. Why does he keep doing this? Solar did it back on Dragon Scales. I pointed out how bad bad that Evo positioning was, he does it again. Sets up a perfect area for those Marines to drop, and he loses both Evo chambers. That's a disaster. Now stuck at 1-2 upgrades versus 2-2. He had those tier 3 upgrades. Just absolutely shut down, and that's a big problem. The Bio now shoving in, BYUN making a play of it in a very chaotic situation. The Lings do stop the redrop in the main. The Marines and the tank here on the right side still getting some decent trades, but it looks like the Banelings and the Lings finally forcing him back. He's out of medevacs, he's out of tanks there on the front. He's just got the drop in the back and whatever he's got moving out at home. BYUN is up in supply. He's up in workers. Is there any hive tech that can turn this around? Well, there's a Viper. That can parasitic bomb these air units and shut him down for a little bit. That can... Actually, BYUN needs to get out of there. That Viper's going to parasitic bomb and blow those medevacs otherwise. That's a lot of his supply lead right now. He's going to keep working this northern angle. Changelings see it setting up. There's not many Banelings ready, but there is a lot of Hydras. The tanks this time, I like that tank in the very back. So he's got layers that he can pull back to. But I wouldn't mind a little bit of pre-spreading. BYUN, though, loves stutter stepping in a ball. That's his MO. That's what he loves to do. And he's setting up on this angle one more time. Solar trying to take a very exposed base on the bottom, realizing that BYUN is never going to stop attacking this angle. The Marines are a little far forward. The Banelings coming forward. The Marines do get control click back. Hydra Bane flank from the right side. It's a lot of Zerg units coming in. Oh, the Marine spready is good, but the tanks are going to go down to the Hydra Queen. 1, 2, 3. All of the tanks go down. He redrops the main base, but look at that. That's what I was talking about. Only about 8 Marines get out of those 3 medevacs, and that is the power of the Viper's parasitic bombs. Drops 3 Marauders. Those are going to get taken out as well. Solar holds onto the front and shuts down the multi-drops. You just can't catch him off guard. Solar is controlling it, and once again, for the 14th time in this game, trying to respread creep on that angle. And look at it. It was 2-to-1 units lost tab. Now the ratio is way closer. It's not even as bad as 3-to-2 anymore for Solar. Solar has a base that's very exposed on the bottom, though, and his creep on the north still sucks. But this has taken the momentum away from BYUN. He's going to have to try to redrop the north with a handful of Marauders and Marines. Not the most high damage army. He's got a drop on the bottom, and he's got a clump of units in the middle that are now setting up in more of a turtle setup. But you've got those upgrades getting caught up on now by Solar. And it looks like 3-3 must have been forgotten for a long time. I've been talking about Solar's upgrades, but 3-3 is still not done somehow for BYUN. Did BYUN get the Viper? No, he didn't. He lost 1 medevac. A few units will save to fight another day. But look at this. This drop can threaten 2 different bases at once, causing Solar to be stuck in a defensive stance. A situation a lot of players find frustrating, but Solar is so used to turtling up and just hanging on and surviving. Now, BYUN's going to go for a big push down the south side while doing a double drop there. That army gets pulled back to deal with the double drop, and it looks like Solar's army gathering on the north for a push of his own. Yet again, an Evo chamber goes down. Those +1 range upgrade gets cancelled for the second time. The drop gets picked up from the bottom left. The hatchery goes down. Solar's whole army gets pulled back. Big wins for BYUN. BYUN on the edge of elimination in this series. He was behind a little bit earlier, but he has been relentless on the aggression, using the smaller size of this map to up the ante. But hats off to Solar for respreading creep all through the middle of the map. He's now respreading on the north. He says, okay, you're focused on the bottom. I'll take the top. He keeps on doing that very well. A few drones go down on the south side. This drop has been annoying, but the Hydras are going to focus down both of these. And Solar with a good catch. Bio drop in the back of the natural. A few more workers go down. BYUN still working that multi-prong while adding ghosts, factories, and more command centers. BYUN is saying, okay, I can't kill you right now, but I can keep harassing you while going to the turtle game. He's on 5 factories for some reason, guys. I've never seen this. I've never seen 5 factories. That's wild. 8 barracks, 5 factory. Okay, now I guess the argument here is twofold. Number one, you can reproduce tanks very quickly to smash Lurker, Bane, Hydra. Also, if they swap to Broods, you can build 5 Thors reactively at once. And that is actually really, really big. It's a lot of production, but I think it makes sense. And he's got a lot of orbitals coming in right now. BYUN's just got to play a bit careful and turtley, because that's a massive Hydraling Bane army, and he doesn't really have any Widow Mines or Hellbats. It's all bio tank, and only 2 tanks are out here right now. He's only got 5 tanks on the map, actually. He wasn't max, whereas Solar was. Solar has a massive Banelings. BYUN spent so much money investing in infrastructure. He was so used to being the attacker, and yet Solar is like, wait a second, I can just overwhelm you right now. BYUN caught being too focused on his macro and not enough on army production. gaps in his army production there. He gets caught out, loses 14 workers and a base. He's got to turtle up. He has to just really cement this northern area on the map. I think the bottom side he can always lift and run away. Losing depots would suck, but it's not the end of the world. He also has one tank that he left behind on the south. Now he's got these tech labs building, but they're not up yet, and he needs those extra tanks to be built ASAP. Solar is saying, hey, you're swapping into tank Ghost? That's good versus Lurkers. I'm not building Lurkers. I'm staying on Hydra Lingbane Viper. This is how we bust a big tank Marauder Ghost player. It's just having masses of small units that close the distance real quick. More tanks are building right now. He needs to be building more Marines, though, does BYUN. He's not maxed out right now. He's making sensor towers, upgrades, command centers, reactors, orbitals. He needs to be using his production. Finally, some more Marines queue up. But he's got to make sure he defends this next wave. Solar with a massive banelings. Great EMPs take out the Vipers. Vipers will not be a part of this fight, but the tanks are getting jumped on. The Bio running backwards, and there's no more layer of these tanks. Finally, some tanks pop out, but they're not sieged just yet. The Lingbane Hydra chases it. The Hydras take out those command centers, and look at that. Does get rid of a lot of the army. Solar's clearing a lot of these units. BYUN needs to stabilize. He's still building SCVs, trying to recover his economy. He's got to turtle up and just survive right now, though, because he's so well set up for the late game. These are not cheap trades for Solar. They're doing surprisingly well, though, because BYUN doesn't have the layers of defense required. He's going to have to set up a layer of tanks behind here, and behind the planetary. I don't think he should be in this open area. I think he should be a bit further back here, around those areas. Solar's just going to mass up and keep smashing his head into the face. Siege tank cancels a hatch on the bottom. If BYUN can remax, I think he's good in this game, guys. But right now, he's pushing on creep, trying to move his tanks forward. This reminds me of Neo-Humanity. He should not be pushing. He's down on army supply. He's not maxed. And the reason he's lost the last few fights, and I say lost, but relatively, he has lost it. Normally, you're trading so much better than Zerg. This is way too close to even. It's because he's been shoving a bit too far forward. But he's got a decent tank spready right now. Here we go! Solar dives forward. Blinding Cloud on the front tanks. Once again, EMPs do push back the Vipers, but there's so much Lingbane Hydra. Some Hellbats have been coming in here as well. Blue Flame is not quite finished yet, though, so they're not one-shotting the Zerglings. It's just Lingbane Hydra. And there just isn't a deep enough tank spread. Can you believe it? Solar just smashes through with decisive shoves, and BYUN, it felt like he was so used to being aggressive in this series, in this game, he kept wanting to spring into action on the counteroffensive. But Babylon is a map where this area is especially wide open, and Solar took advantage of that. He flooded in and overwhelmed so well. 27 workers in a command center kill. The Ghosts should get some punishes here with the snipes. More Banelings morphing on the front lines. He cancels and just jumps on top with Mass Ling. Decides better of it and does back off. Ghost in the top right, or Lurker, sorry, is doing damage to the planetary, denying that mining. BYUN's mining is way down. He also lost the command center in the far bottom left. Never got that one up, guys. He's got these tanks trying to stabilize. He's got 2 reactors. Oh, so that's why he wanted 3 tech lab factories and 2 with reactors, so he could produce Hellbats and mines very quickly. Fascinating choice for BYUN. He had so many orbitals, but a lot of them have already died now. He's still got 6 orbitals left. Blinding Cloud is massive on the siege tanks. The factories are getting torn down. Units up in the top right, tearing down his economy as well. And Solar gets in there and explodes on his face and wins the series 4-2 after what looked like harassment that was getting Solar in a very good position. GG, well played.